Oh my goodness gracious, actually live. So wait a minute. I see the thing come up, it said 37 seconds and we are now live. Welcome to the first of 2023. The Fight is Right. Myself, Spencer Fearon, Babatunde Ajayi, as you know, he's busy in camp preparing Anthony Yard for his amazing assault to come back and be victorious in becoming the unified light heavyweight champion. So I'm actually doing a show today by myself. Well, not exactly by myself, because I've got guests coming on. You know me. And the Black Book is in full power right now. And the Black Book powers have been increased. Now we're in 2023. And 2023 means it is for me, but it means it's for we. So let's do this thing as a collective. Loads of things to talk about. We want to know your wish list of fights that you would like to see in 2023. So you see that pop in the comments. Let me shout out all the people that's jumped on there. But before we even start that, we start with the illustrious words of Babatunde Ajayi. Dream it, believe it, become it. Come on down. Very important. It is very important. More so because there's been a lot that happened last year. And we have to give credit where credit is due. We should be joined today by Francis Warren, who is from Frank Warren's son, who's also managing quite a few fighters from Queensbury. Queensbury's done fantastic of last year. I want to ask some questions about how things will be going on for the new year. I've seen they just got that new signing. There we go. 1 second. All right, mate. I am good. It's not that you on. All right, what I'm going to do now, what I'm gonna do now, I'm actually live now. I'm gonna send your number to Gary, who's our technician, and Gary will talk you through how to do it. All right, mate? All right, cheers. As I just called his name, I mean, speak of the angel, and so I can't call him no devil. That was Francis Warren. He said he had a bit of trouble logging on. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna send Francis's number to Gary Blake, the man behind the cam, and we'll get him on. Where's bloody Gary's number? It happens, man. This is what happens when you go live. I mean, this is what happens when nice one, Gary. I'm sending you the message right this second, Gary, so you could contact Francis Warren because he was saying that it wasn't letting him get on. So here we go. I'll send you his number right now. My apologies to you guys who are on the show right now. I think you're right. What's going on there? But Fury Usyk is a fight we want to see. That's coming in from M. Yes, M. I agree. That's the fight that I want to see as well. I don't think it is as much of a foregone conclusion as everybody's saying, but that's the fight that I want to see. And the person to ask those questions to will be coming on in a second. I've just sent the number over to Gary. Gary's going to contact Francis Warren, son of Frank Warren. Him and his brother George have done fantastically well of last year. We've got to give credit where credit is due. You got to think, the shows that they put on, I would say if it was a competition between them and Matchroom, talking of last year now, I'm not talking about previous years, of last year, I think they came out on top. But I'm looking forward to how they're going to get on in the new year and what they're going to do in the new year. And he'll be jumping on in a bit, so we can ask him all the questions anyway. So Gary, just let us know what you're doing there. Right, Miss Ringside is saying Joshua Wilder. That's a must for me. There's a couple of fights that I believe, right, Miss Ringside. I'm saying Joshua Wilder. Right, I'm also saying Tank Garcia. That's a fight that I want to see. So right, Fury Usyk fight. That's on the wish list. Crawford Spence, as my guy Philip Ansah has just put up there as well. That's my 5 fights that I'm saying. Like, if anything, that is what I want to go see. And sorry, that's 4. Fifth fight would be Anthony Yard versus Bivol, because I really do believe that Anthony Yard's going to come out successful against Beterbiev or Beterbiev, however you want to pronounce it. That's just me. Happy New Year to you as well, Trevor. Yeah, they're the fights. They're the major fights that I would like to see. Barry Cubs, how you doing? Sammy Ali, White versus AJ2. That's a good fight, you know. You know what I mean? That is a good fight. That is a good fight. Stephen Shaw versus Jermaine Franklin, another good fight. I like that. Jared Anderson versus Jarrell Miller. You know what? That is a good fight because they're both called big babies, so they've been going back and forth on social media. I would like to see that fight. I'd like to see that fight. Wilder versus Ruiz. Well, Wilder versus Ruiz is actually happening. Fury versus Usyk. Right. So the Fury versus Usyk fight, we're hearing in the talk, in the backgrounds and everything else. I think Frank Warren posted out something last week that the beginning stages of negotiations have now started for that fight to happen, and let's talk that fight can actually happen in March. That would be a great thing because that would be it would be the first undisputed champion that we would have had since 2002. Lennox Lewis was the last man. Then the titles got fragmented because the WBA stripped Lennox Lewis for not fighting Ruiz, and he opted to fight Michael Grant instead. He got stripped of the title, and then Evander Holyfield went and fought Ruiz. I think they fought about 57,000 times. But yeah, yes, what's that? Off the Canvas is saying Salam Spencer and Happy New Year. And I'll say Happy New Year to everyone. And let's just be real. Things can only change if you change them. Simple as that. You know what I mean? And if you can't change people, then change people. That's not even my line, that's Chuck D. But yeah, if you can't change people, change people. And I think Francis Warren is just about to jump on what's going on here. It's kind of a bit slow. Gary, I don't know what's going on here. Has it come through on me? Yes. We can't hear you, mate.
Hold on. I'll tell you what. This
Touch the volume. Come on. I know. Look, Francis is kind of like he's older than me. Francis behaving like my dad when I used to give my dad be on with the TV, be pressing buttons on I said, Dad, give me back my calculator. He didn't have an idea.
You try that.
Come on, Francis, we can't hear you, mate.
Is that better?
You can hear it, but I can't hear him. Gary, I don't know what's going on. Gary, can you tell me what's going on? Like, the people are saying that they can actually hear him, but I can't hear him. It's me.
So you're having a proper
stay on. Just don't worry about it. This is technical stuff. So you stay on here. I'm gonna jump off and jump back on. You stay right there, mate. You don't go. There's nowhere for you to go, France. You got to stay. It's a new year. You got to stay right there, mate. Don't go nowhere.
Go for it.
I'm gonna jump out and jump back in. Right. Can you hear me? I don't know what the frig is wrong with this thing, you know. If Tundi was here right now, he'd be going ape shit on me. But yeah, thank God he's there training in the yard. 1 second, I know exactly how I'm going to do to cheat on this, mate. So you can hear me, Francis, right?
I can hear you.
I can hear you now. Excellent.
How are you, my friend?
I'm not as good as you, my friend. You know what I mean?
That's always your line, Spence. It's always the
Yeah,
line.
it is. But you're listen, Francis, where you been, man? You've kind of disappeared. You've come back. It's like you're reinventing yourself now. Did you go to Turkey? It's like you got more hair on your head. What's going on?
No, that's gone, man. Look, that is gone. Listen, I'm growing old gracefully and learning that, you know, getting older is not such a bad thing. You know, it's good to be settled and chilled and be able to, you know, reconnect with old friends. You know what I'm talking about, Spence?
1,000,000%, man. 1,000,000%.
Yeah,
Francis, it's like I gotta call it as it is. Queensbury had a fantastic year last year, right? What would you owe that success to?
Owe it success to what currently?
Yeah, because you had a fantastic year last year.
Listen, we had a great year last year, but it's about the grind, Spence. You know, it's about there's no other way to it, and it doesn't matter if it's boxing or if you're or any sport or any business or you know you've got to aspire to be the best you can be. And I know it might be an old cliche, but at the end of the day, you can only give up if you give you 110%, and everyone around you does their jobs as well as as possible. I know boxing is an individual sport, but behind the scenes, there is a lot of people working hard and working towards the same common goal, which is to put on great events and be successful. And it's a bit, it is a cliche, but everyone stays in their lane, everyone does their job properly, everyone works hard, and it's it went very well last year. But it's not an overnight thing. You know, my dad's been doing it 40 years. I've been in this now since 2004, probably.
18 years. 19
2004.
years now.
Yeah, so you know, and I'm feeling it, but I've been enjoying it more now than ever. And on a personal note, found a bit of a new lease of life within this amazing sport of ours. Kind of fell out of love with it for a few years. I'm not going to lie. I think you go through peaks and troughs with anything in life, and you know, you sort of maybe didn't adapt with the times, particularly effectively. I wouldn't say not very well, but I didn't adapt with the times effectively, maybe with the social media and things like that. You know, I'm a bit of an old school kind of guy. I take that from my dad. And maybe like push back on maybe the blue chipness of boxing now. It's one of those businesses now that it's not all just about getting a deal done. It's not all just about, you know, being the loud guy in the room. It's not all just about you know, being the brashest and the biggest. It's about being the smartest and the most cooperative, I think. It's not about trying to outdo people, although sometimes when you do, it's nice. But for me personally, you know, like I said, I found a bit of a new lease of life in this sport with the guys I'm working with outside of Queensbury, who are the fighters. One-on-one with some amazing young talent, and you know, I'll just the first one that springs to mind is Sam Noakes, for example. You know, winning this Commonwealth title last year, you know, that made me realise that this is where I belong in this sport, and it's the management side of things.
Right.
And I love it, absolutely love it. You know, I love being one-on-one with the guys, going to the gyms. I'm gonna have to start participating a bit at the moment in the gym work.
No, you've lost weight, man. You've lost weight.
Yeah, it goes up and down, Spence. You know me. But yeah, I mean, the success that I had last year, it goes hand in hand, obviously, with Queensbury's success. You're only as good as the team you're working around, I believe. I firmly believe that if everyone works hard for each other, then it rubs off.
So, like, how many fighters have you got right now, yourself personally?
Me personally, I've got 9.
9. Right.
So, and they're all high quality young guys. I had 6 title wins in 14 days towards the end of last year. So that went from Henry Turner. So we had Henry Turner and Louis Lin in Dubai. I got them on a show out there, and they both. Louis won the WBC International Featherweight. Henry Turner won the WBC International Super Lightweight, and then we had. It's 5 title wins. and there was a significant sixth, which I'll get onto. And then Sam Noakes and Dennis McCann won the Commonwealth titles, and Pierce O'Leary won super lightweight WBC International. And then we had Carol Atuma, had a great eight-round stoppage on the Tyson Fury undercard at Wembley. So within the space of like 3 to 4 weeks, I had real personal success, which, that went hand in hand with some really terrific events that Queensbury promoted and BT Sport broadcast.
Right. So how does that make you feel like on a personal achievement level for yourself? You being away for a hot minute? Can't remember
it's the closest thing you can get to being I suppose being a sportsman. Like I felt like a massive sense of achievement, a massive sense of pride, quite a paternal feeling as well. I'm a dad, I've got 2 kids, another one on the way, and
a beautiful wife.
But
a beautiful wife. I'm just telling you the honest truth, Francis. You're punching, son. You're punching.
You go, mate. You go. But it made those guys winning, and I'm not saying just because they were title fights. I mean, Sean Noakes, Sam's brother, he had a terrific 4-round win a few weeks before. But when they do well, it's like it does make you feel. It's doing well is easy, but that adrenaline, you're like, fucking please do all right, please do all right, please do all right. And when they come through it, you feel like that sense of relief. And when they win, it's an added bonus. But just coming through it healthy and happy is like more of a relief. And then when you see them with a title, when you see their smiles and you see their families being excited, and you know that they've gone and earned some more money for their families, taking that next step closer to financial independence. Although that's a long way off still. Commonwealth titles and WBC internationals ain't going to retire off them. But if they lose those fights, it's backward steps. And I the responsibility that I have now as a manager, is something that I've taken extremely seriously, and something that I think I personally am thriving on.
I hear that. Well, it's like you and your brother now, and like your dad's kind of seemingly like your dad's passing over the torch to you guys, right? Now, I'm telling you, like your brother's like Simon Templar, right?
He's a smart cookie. He's very smart.
He's smart. Simon, seriously, I mean, I'm wearing a polo neck today because of him, right? So it's like,
fair play.
And you put some like there's some big fights that are heading up for this year. Like on a wish list, so I've asked everyone here for like your wish list, and of the wish list, the major one that comes up is Fury Usyk. Can you? Because I saw your dad send out. He posted last week that they're in the first rounds of negotiation for that fight. Would you like to elaborate on that for us, please?
I don't want to say anything that might throw a spanner in the works.
All right.
I have conversations with my dad and George, daily basis. I know they're working very hard to get it done. I spent some time with Alex Krasuk in Puerto Rico on the WBO convention back in October, and they just said, "Look, let's just get it done." So I think it'll be a logistical thing. If there's an issue, there's no pessimism, I don't think, from either side saying, "Oh, we want this, we want that." I think essentially, as far as I know, and I think do one of these with George to get, or my dad to get, 100% confirmation. But I don't think what my dad said the other day about contracts being at a certain stage are too far off the mark.
Okay.
Tyson wants to fight. Alexander wants to fight. Both teams are very happy to get it done and work together. I suppose it's just hopefully it's just getting the nitty gritty out of the way.
Okay, there's a really good question I've got in here right now. A guy called Kayosho is saying, would Francis ever consider managing any fighters who aren't signed to Queensbury?
100%. I've got a duty of care, and that's the main thing that I would put. I've never ever shied away from wanting to work with other people. I was having conversations with representatives at Sky recently about another fighter that's just been announced that we signed. At the end of the day,
is that Enrique Etui?
Pardon?
Enrique Etui, right?
Yeah.
Bro, I'm going to talk about him in a bit. I'm going to let you carry on.
Okay. No, to answer the questions, yeah, of course, because my job is to present. My job's not to make the decision. My job's to Go out there, source the best deals possible, sit down and advise and work out what the best foot forward is for the guys. It's not for me to say that is 100%. You know, some fighters that I think, let's put it this way. Anthony Yard is a BT guy through and through. And I think, and the way he's developed the relationships that, say, Tunde has with Dad, with me, with George, and Anthony's been looked after and promoted. I think from day one, you would say that he was, you know, he's one of us. And I think other fighters would get along with better with other promoters. And now I'm managing guys on that really close one-on-one basis. If I didn't think that those guys would click with my dad and my brother, I would say, no, that's not the one. Let's go and have a chat with Ben, or let's go and have a chat with Matchroom and DAZN. Not a problem at all. The most important thing is the happiness and the financial security, and how, you know, some fighters need to be pushed quicker than others. We at Queensbury, we just say what's best. It's next fight is the next fight's the most important one. We're not looking 10 moves down the line all the time. I think a lot of promoters now, they're like, right, let's get these first 10 out of the way as quickly as possible, and then let's have a world title fight. It doesn't matter if he wins or not. Let's just bank him in. And I'm not about that. But some fighters want to get a move on, so I wouldn't have a problem to say, to put it out there, and I would always put it out there to guys. I've got the opportunities. I've got an opportunity for you to sign this fighter. Please make an offer. And if they made an offer, I'll present the offer.
Okay. Fair dues. Right, going back to this new hotshot signing, your dad. Your dad broke the news that you will actually be managing Enrique Ituma, right? Right, that you'll be managing him, right?
Yeah.
Now, when that came out, I got a phone call. You remember Chris Oko?
Yeah.
You remember Chris Oko, former Commonwealth Cruiserweight champion? He phoned me and he said, "Spence, I'm telling you now, that kid's gonna go all the way." Right? He says he's a very special talent.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I hear this all the time. I said, oh, go watch this kid. So I'm going on YouTube trying to find. There's not a lot of fights on him. I'm trying to find something because his brother's me. He's probably lightweight, good fight.
I'll send you some stuff.
Yeah. So I'm there and I'm looking through, and I'm watching this kid, and he's southpaw, but he don't look like a southpaw. He's aggressive.
Yeah.
But he knows how to slip shots as well. And I'm saying, what is he, 18? Here it goes. We've gone already. Ben Olden, congratulations. Thank you, Ben, for the £100. Yeah, I mean, this is Sunday service in here. This is like church to people. This is therapy that we're running in here. And Ben is saying, good evening, Francis. Hope you're well. Did you?
I'm good, thanks, Ben.
Pardon me?
I said, I'm good, thanks, Ben.
All right, cool. He's saying, all right, did you ever consider yourself setting up a promotional company with striking a deal with Sky? The Warrens would then have the monopoly on the UK with your dad being with BT. Talk to the people, Francis.
Well, listen, in an ideal world, do you know what? From an immediate financial reward perspective, you go, yeah, we'd have Sky and BT. That'd be great. However, competition breeds success more than monopoly. And I believe that when, listen, there's been two occasions when Sky had promoters. I think ourselves before we set up Box Nation, and I might be speaking that term. Maybe this is going to piss me old man off, but I've got I can speak my mind. And I think at some point when we were with Box Nation and Eddie was with Sky, the product wasn't great. Towards the end, I think the left side of the card, you were like, that's a banker. You could probably go. You could probably guarantee 8 of the 10 fights weren't going to be particularly competitive. And because there was no competition, I don't think the product was great. And I think the interest in boxing dropped off. Now, I mean, on the same weekend we had Parker Ryder, there were 4 shows on 4 different channels in London alone. Friday, 2 on Saturday, 1 on Sunday afternoon. Now, if that doesn't show you a healthy sport, and I love this sport, then I don't know what shows, I don't know what would. So for me, if I was a greedy bastard and the opportunity came up, I'd grab it with both hands, but I'm not. I want to be in this for the long game, and I think that the fact is British boxing is probably the healthiest boxing country in the world, and that's because we have such competition to do well and produce the best shows.
So, in fairness, Ben, thank you for the £100. Francis is being honest there. I've got to give you that. You know what I mean? Usually, I'll be waiting for you to try and twist things or to be favourable to your family, but you're being honest. I have to rate you for that. But yeah, now I've got to go back to this kid, this Enrique kid. Like, this kid can fight.
He can. He certainly can fight. I mean, I've met him probably around about Carroll's debut, maybe just a bit after. No, it was well after Carroll's debut, about 2 or 3 fights in. I signed Carroll in March 2020, and obviously due to the lockdown, we had to wait until I think it was November, early December for his debut, and he obviously Enrique wasn't allowed to come to the show because he was not part of he hasn't got a license and things like that, and the restrictions. So it was a little while before I met him. And when I did meet him, he was quiet, and obviously I knew about him, but it's tricky because he was a youngster, so you have to let him do his thing. But I knew how good he was. I really did know how good he was, and you had quotes from Lawrence Okoli saying how great he was in sparring, and I spoke to Joe Joyce and heard a few things that he'd said about him. And he won everything as a youth. Gold in every single tournament. And then I started getting the footage put together. It's just unbelievable, And as you said, Spencer, it's not just about his power or his aggression. He moves like a middleweight.
He's got boxing.
He slips shots like a lightweight. It's unbelievable what this kid can do at 18 years old, and without and he hasn't had that loads and loads of fights. People have been, and it's not even about people ducking him. They're just saying no. Like pre-tournaments, he'll turn up at tournaments. People just don't turn up. He wasn't getting any fights within the domestic amateur scene. So all these international tournaments he's had to go and compete in. He's knocking every single round in the European youth. One round. I think the 4 fights that he boxed in didn't make up the length of one fight.
Yeah, I see one kid, I think the guy's from Georgia, and he throws like a right hook to the body. He was trying to go right hook and right up and right hook to the body, right hook to the head. But as a right hook to the body, just finished the guy. You're a kid.
He boxed the kid from Greece, and the kid from Greece is trying to put it on him, and he's just like, whoop. Steps back, couple of little, and the most impressive thing with him, he knows he can finish people off, but he's like he waits and picks shots. I'm super excited.
I like that. But trust me, that kid, just by watching what I'm saying, guided and steered correctly, which I believe that you guys will do, and given the right fights. Your dad was talking about that. There's no rush because you could burn a kid out. But it's not only that, but of what I've seen of how he fights, it's just on the stuff on the outside that he's protected correctly, because he's got a big future, mate. I'm telling you.
He's got a huge future, and he turned pro, not turned pro, sorry. He turned 18 on the 29th of December. So we went down and we did a little piece, took him a cake down, all the rest of it. And I just thought he would come down and do the PR stuff and all the rest of it. So I was like, okay, we can walk down to the cars. He was like, yeah, I'll come up for a quick chat. And I was like, okay. So it's a kid's 18th birthday. You're only 18 once. I said, you getting your car? He goes, no, I'm going back to train. So I was like, yes, good man. And although I would probably say you're only 18 months, I'd say you only get one career. So go and go and do what you got to do when you retire, my friend, because that's the attitude you want. And once you've got that attitude, you're not far off halfway there already. Plus, the talent and the dedication. There's fighters who have come out of world amateur games, won golds, all the rest of it, that haven't quite cracked it because they don't have that mentality. This kid's already got that. He's been doing this since he was 9 years old. And, he's with a trainer, Dan Woolwich, who trains his brother Carroll as well. And he just says, well, I know him inside out. I don't need to motivate him. I just need to coach him and school him. And, the kid's unreal. He walks around, you have a chat with him. It's like he's like 30 years old.
Yeah.
Seriously, the attitude and the head he's got on him. Really, really smart kid. Really good guy.
Well, there's some good young heavyweights right now, but I ain't even putting nobody on. I'm not even on the conversation. I'm just to be real. Chris Oko said to me he believes that this kid right now could fight and defeat Fraser Clark, and that's why I had to go and watch it. And I was saying, hold on a second, Fraser Clark. You know what I mean? He got a bronze medal in the Olympics, he's Commonwealth Games gold medalist, he's an ABA champion. He said, Spencer, trust me, I'm telling you now, and Chris knows boxing, right? He's saying, listen, right now, this kid could do this. But I've heard this about a lot of stuff, about a lot of kids. It's whether like I'm doing that transition from being an amateur to professional ranks, that how you take it and all the rest of it. But if steered correctly, there's nobody that wouldn't want a heavyweight kid. If you say, oh, you want to marry someone that gave you a heavyweight kid, there's nobody wouldn't want him who could fight a little bit. But of what I've seen or what I witnessed about this kid here, this Enrique kid, he seems like he can fight a lot. If steered correctly, we don't know what could happen because it's wide open right now. Yeah. Wide open.
Listen, like you said, there are certain fits for fighters for certain promotional teams and for certain managers. I've been brought up to make sure that the priority is don't take an unnecessary risk too early. Queensbury, you look at Anthony, Daniel Dubois, they got fights to build them up to make sure that they have the confidence, the know-how, in doing what they're doing in the gym, and they probably wanted to be let off the leash a lot earlier. But it's about doing things at the right time, and picking the right fights at the right time. This guy, if you let him do it himself, he'd want to fight guys who are 25 and 30-0 in his second fight. He's that confident in his own ability. He is in a rush because he's got a record he wants to beat. But in an ideal world, you say, yeah, okay, you got that, you can do it. However,
so the record, because the record that he wants to beat. So this kid, I'm gonna tell you guys, like it was November of.
See if any of the guys, watching can work it out.
Yeah, no, they will. So the record that he wants to beat. So he wants to become the youngest ever heavyweight champion of the world. The man that holds that record is actually Mike Tyson. He did that in November of 1986 when he destroyed Trevor Burbank in 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Now, this young man is 18 now, right? He just turned 18. So he turned 18.
18 in a couple of days, yeah.
In a couple of days. And when is
no, he was 29th of December. So right. It's 2 years and 4 months and a couple of days he's got. That's the time
to go and do that. With the talk of the undisputed fight happening, and there's talk, like I'm hearing through the grapevines, you can correct me, like apparently they're talking like if that fight does happen, it could happen in March or April of this year. If that is the case, you know what happens when guys become undisputed champion, the titles get fragmented. Because you become it, you win it, then there's going to be too much demands on one side from the other side. But the person who actually wins it does a business similar to what Lennox Lewis did when he won it. He was like, I'm undisputed champion. I don't care if you take away the titles from me. Right. Yeah. So if that does happen, there could be a very, very strong possibility if this kid's guided correctly and goes through the right channels that he's looking to. I rate that he's actually out aiming to beat Mike Tyson's record.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with being ambitious. It doesn't mean I firmly believe he can do it, but it's the point I'm trying to make, Spencer, is it's cautious optimism from. I mean, I'm a manager. I'm not like I've got a crystal ball, and with Queensbury, they're not just going to go right just because a fight wants to break a record. It's definitely going to happen. Yeah. We're going to do everything we can to facilitate that opportunity, and that's but he's capable. He's well capable of doing it. And I tell you what, give him a year, and I can't see too many problems. Definitely not domestically at the domestic level.
Right. So, how many fights a year are you projecting for this young man? Because people seem to forget that you were the man that was managing Derek Chisora when he turned pro.
Yeah. Listen, that's why I find it that's so easy now. I'm joking. My mate Derek, I love that guy. I really do. I mean, he's like one of my he's a good guy, Derek. And but yeah, looking after Derek in them days, we travelled the world together, and we had some great fun. And it was seriously a baptism of fire.
100%.
So yeah, definitely. But it's all about just making sure you get to know your guy, and you know what they want, and you're trying to deliver those opportunities without being too gung ho about it. I don't like it, because what's the point in taking unnecessary risk with saying an 18-and-a-half-year-old, 19-year-old, and it goes wrong just because of a bit of a lack of experience that would have just taken 3 more fights. It doesn't make sense, it's going to be entertaining though, and it's going to be exciting.
Great. And Francis, lastly, there's a lot of people around this time who are like, mental health has become a major issue in what we're facing in society today. What would you have for anybody at this present moment who'd be looking to give up or stop doing what they want to go do because they believe that they're going for it? What advice would you give anyone at this present moment, France?
I think, obviously, the first and foremost thing is to talk. You've got to try and reach out and take the. Someone will respond to you. Someone will say, right, I can help you, or I can point you in the right direction. Don't just think you're on your own. Don't think you're on your own, because there is going to be somebody out there who will be worse off if you're not around. So you've got to try and give that person the opportunity to say, I want you around, let me help you. So just talk, just reach out and talk, and just have a good think about who that person or those people are who want to talk to you and would want to help you, because there's nothing that isn't solvable.
That's beautifully put, my friend. I didn't want to keep you too long because I know you got to get up early in the morning now because you got fighters to go in the gym with and everything else there, Francis. Yeah, you do. No, in fact, tomorrow's bank holiday, so you may. But it's bank holiday. But I don't. The banks never have a holiday, my friend.
No, of course you don't. Especially not when you're a dad of 2 as well. So you got to keep it up, got to keep it going.
Tell me about it. But Francis, seriously, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. I will see you on the 28th. When Britain will have a new
Anthony Yard. Tell you what, anyone who bets against Anthony Yard, you're wasting your money, because that man is going to come and do it.
I'm telling you.
Cannot wait. I've got no doubt in my mind. Anthony Yard is going to be the light heavyweight world champion. I ring Tunde and I say, I just can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it. I've got no doubt, no doubt in my mind, and I just can't wait to see it.
You know what I'm saying? This is what I'm saying on this fight, because I ain't talking too much on the fight. I study a lot of boxing. I watch a lot of boxing. And I'm saying, either I don't know I don't know what I'm watching, because I watch a lot of opponents and always report back to Tunde. And I'm saying, I'm glad that this guy is being rated as this big King Kong. So, in my mind, when Anthony Yard becomes world champion, give all the praise and glory to the kid. That is it.
I totally agree with you. And I just can't wait to see it, because if there's 2 guys, and obviously the rest of the team, but if there's 2 guys who have strived and told everyone else to and not listen to their opinion, it's them 2. They gained experience in Russia, and they've regrouped and they've come forward again, and now they've got this huge opportunity, which I know they'll grab with all 4 hands. So
1,000,000%. Francis, thank you so much. You know what I mean? Big up yourself. Big up everything that you do. I don't just wish you a happy new year. I don't. I wish you a happy remainder of your life. All right?
My friend. Thanks for your help. Take care, man.
Right, you take care. God bless. Big up Francis Warren has just jumped on air, telling us about all the great things that he's doing. I'm looking forward to the success of what comes with the guy. You know what I mean? Because you have to realize that life is short. Now back to the wish list, because we've got like half an hour left. Because it should have been, but we had a little problem in getting on. I'm trying to get our other guest now to see if he's going to jump on. Inui Casemiro, that would be a big boy fight, but at 1 second. All right, mate.
Have you sent me the link?
Yeah, I've sent you the link, bro. Thank you very much. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, that's Johnny Nelson. He said, have I sent him a link? He got the link from the same time Gary sent me the link. You see the liberties that they're taking, Gary? This is the unprofessionalism that I have to put up with. But they are so lucky. I remember Johnny Nelson had just got MBE. I think he collects it in March. So that's a massive big up to Johnny Nelson for becoming the recipient of an MBE for services to sport. And I believe that he's done excellent. But I'm just double checking that. I've sent Johnny Nelson the link. I have to now double check. And you know what? He's absolutely right. Boom. Let me just go resend it to him. Forward this to Johnny. There you go. Boom, boom. I had to just resend him the link. I sent him the link already, but I had to resend it to him. And Gary will let us know when he comes on. Now, going back to the fights that we want to see on your wish list, you ain't put it up here. Yes, Leah O has said Crawford versus Spence, Fury versus Usyk, Joe Joyce versus Wilder, Haney versus Tank. You know what? A lot of people are kind of, that is a good one, like with Joe Joyce, Wilder, but I think that Anthony Joshua versus Wilder will trump Joe Joyce versus Wilder at a point of like, Joe Joyce is a nightmare. You know what I mean? He actually is. He's his nickname. He's the juggernaut. Or as Tundi calls him, Jollof Joe, because of his persistentness, how persistent he is, the way that he can take a shot, and the way that he knows how to fire back. And his stoppage win of Josie Parker, or his KO win of Josie Parker. Josie's my guy. But, boy, that was vicious. Do you know what I mean? That was a very, very vicious win by Josie Parker. But I don't think Josie Parker is a big enough name yet to fight Wilder. And I think Joshua versus Wilder would be, and here we have Johnny Nelson on here. Johnny, wait 1 second. Are you getting paid by boxers that advertise boxers? You were telling me about Fighters Right.
That's his fire. Say it again. Come back with me.
Yeah, I mean, I see you got a boxer t-shirt on.
Oh, right. Hey,
Yeah,
listen, I'm a Yorkshire man. I teach whatever I can. Talk to me.
Okay, I get that. I can't knock you. And when we start by putting Gary, it's Johnny Nelson MBE now. You got to put that up on the ground. We don't care about former world champion. Johnny Nelson.
Get me up a lot of things.
Right, Johnny Nelson MBE. And since the passing of Queen Elizabeth, this is the first honours roll where you will be becoming a recipient of an honour, and everybody involved is getting a recipient of the honour that is actually receiving it from the current crowned king. That's serious. You didn't think about it.
I hear what you're saying. You know, I've had a few mixed reviews in regards to man saying, well done, congratulations.
So how have they been mixed? Can you elaborate with that one?
They've been good. They've been good. Some questionable, and I just say,
you know what? I say ratings for like in your fridge. That I see beer water in your fridge. That your grandson in the background is raiding the fridge.
Why, kids, man, don't play with kids. Don't work with kids or animals. All right, cool. I'll do it later on. It's cool, Dred. It's cool. Okay, it's cool. It's cool. It's cool. So it's been mixed reviews because to me, my reply to that is this. You know, this is about recognition for what has been recognised that Brendan says we should all do on our own doorstep in and around, and which is taking care of your community, doing what you can. And I find it strange when someone's being an amazing artist, an amazing brain, an amazing scientist or something, they pass away. And you think all that knowledge, all that skill, all that talent has gone. But on their way to accomplishing all that skill, talent, and wisdom, they've had students that they've passed it on to. And the reason why they do that, so those students will grow from it and learn and pass it on. I was fortunate enough to be one of Brendan's students, and the philosophy that he gave me and many of us in the gym was to be passed on. That was to inspire others. To inspire others. There's kids. I work with kids like me. I know when I was at school, my handwriting was terrible. I knew my reading was terrible. I knew my concentration span was ridiculous.
Nothing's changed. No.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, it's getting kids to. When I go and speak to kids, when I go to colleges, businesses, whatever, I want to be that guy that people can kind of think, I know someone like him, or I'm like him. And so if he can do that, and I can tell my story, I don't need no script. I can tell my story to inspire others. That's what's it about. And I know if I didn't go to the gym and meet Brendan and have that lifestyle, I wouldn't be the person I am today. And I said to you earlier, I'd said to you earlier on, you know, when I got the MBE, the first thing I wanted to do was call Brendan. The first thing I wanted to do, and then I would have gone, you know, and then I thought, Mom, you know, I want to take my mom. I'd love to be able to take my mom to the palace or whatever it is they give me this thing, just to say, look, I want to give you recognition to say what your philosophy works, because I'm passing it on. It's been recognized by my peers. I want my mom to say, you know what, my mom came here in 1959. She was born 1929, came over here, her one on the boat. She came, and so can you imagine, at that age, you're going to think to yourself, how many of us would have that courage at that age to get on a boat and go around the other side of the world to try and build a life? We wouldn't do it. We wouldn't do it. So, and I know my mum was a strong, stubborn, pig-headed at times, determined woman. But one thing she did was stick by her kids. You know, we might have had different fathers, but we all are a family. Our kids, we love each other, my brothers and sisters. That's what my mum instilled in us. You know, for us to bring us up, to say, you know what, we haven't got trouble. You know, we've tried to do good. If you bring shame upon the family, you're getting a clap. But I posted a picture up the other day, and there was 4 of us in the picture. Me, my sister, my 2 older brothers in the picture. And I said, from this to MBE, I'm not ashamed of where I came from. I'm not ashamed of what I didn't have. You know, I'm not ashamed that I want people to say, you know what, if that little scrubber boy from Sydney Road, Crooks, Sheffield, can end up being an MBE, can you imagine what I can do? So to me, I want people to know where I come from. I want people to know, you know, the struggles isn't just financial. The struggles was emotional. It was confidence-wise. It was everything going education-wise and everything. To me, it was all of that. And so I want people to think, I know somebody like him. And so to me, I'm so proud of. I keep thinking someone's going to say, yo, we made a mistake. We made a mistake. But you know what? I'm flattered.
No mistake give you an MBE, my friend. Not one. So I thought it was service to boxing why you got the MBE.
Both. It was service to boxing and working with kids in and around South Yorkshire. Service to boxing, I get that. Brendan always said to me, Johnny, you're going to win, lose, and draw. But one thing that's going to happen is nobody's ever going to be able to match you for your experience. I've been a winner. I've been a loser. I've been on the receiving end of abuse. I've been on the receiving end of cheers. I've been classed as a journeyman or whatever. I've been abused and everything. And I mean, getting in the ring by the people that are in my sport, and I've ended up being a world champion. That set a record of defenses. I've been through every aspect of our game. And you know what, I was doing a podcast the other day. Richard Craig Spider, he came up, he was talking to me, and he asked me for some advice. And I thought, I smiled to myself, and I thought, this young man's coming to ask me for advice on how to go forward in his career. And I actually thought, oh man, what's happening there? And to me, that is what it's about. I want man to look at me and think, you know what, this worked for you and that worked for you. You've inspired me. I looked at people like Ali, Jack Johnson, Sugar Ray Leonard, Thomas Hearns, Michael Nunn, and I was inspired by what I saw them do in the ring. I was inspired by what I saw and heard what Ali said. I'm inspired by people I've met personally, fighters I've met personally. I'm massively inspired by Brendan. So if I can be that inspiration for somebody else in our sport, it's been recognised. So I don't feel no shame about it because I know nobody will match my experience that I've had in boxing. There is experiences that I haven't had in boxing. There is the experience that the heights that I've never been to, but nobody will match my experiences in boxing. You look at it, win, lose, draw, hero, zero, hero. Nobody can match that. So nobody can tell me about boxing because I've been on every side of the fence.
I remember like your first world title fight against Carlos de Leon. He was 23 years old at the time. And a lot of people don't know that you were the first guy to bust Barry Hearn, you know.
Yeah. Barry Hearn's the Don. You think Eddie Hearn is the Don. Barry was the Don back then.
Right. Yeah.
And I was on the front page. You remember when we boxed? Everybody wanted to be on the front page of Boxing News. I was on the front page of Boxing. I'm looking. Yes, I'm on. That was the biggest deal going. I think it was Johnny Go, Johnny Go, something like that.
Yep, that's exactly what it was.
But you got to be careful what you wish for.
Isn't it? Carlos de Leon.
You've got to be careful what you wish for because I was on the front page the week after.
Yeah.
For something I didn't want. You know what I mean? So when you wish for something, be careful, you'll get it.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying, like, you got that fight, and I remember that fight being the world's most boringest fight ever. I'm just going to be real with you, right?
Yeah.
And I said, right, Johnny Nelson's a millionaire because Johnny Nelson must have found a cure for insomnia. Just turn on that fight, you're going to go to sleep. That was the fight, right? And then things didn't work out for you. I remember you lost in a European title fight as well. Then
No, it wasn't European. I boxed for the IBF title.
No. You fought a French kid.
I've never lost a European title.
Never.
Never.
You got stopped by some brother.
Oh, that was by Norbert Akassi.
Norbert Akassi could fight, you know.
He could punch, like I'm telling you. My man told me, and before I even hit the floor, referee's on 6. I'm like, but you know what? Thank God, they stopped the fight because I could have stood up and got cleaned out, and he wouldn't live to fight.
I'm using that as like he didn't go nowhere. He was tipped to be a world champion, right? He didn't go nowhere, right? Then I remember you fight the Warren fight, bro, right? And something didn't click inside of you. But then all of a sudden it did, right? Yeah. And the maddest thing is today I get a phone call from Dennis Andres.
Wow.
Right? I speak to Dennis Andres, the three-time WBC light heavyweight champion of the world, right? And when you fought him, it must have been about 67, because you know that man was lying about the age of right? I'm not even talking about that, but I speak to Dennis Andres today, right? And you was Dennis's last fight. He was his last professional fight, but you retired him. Yep. I remember, like, he fought Terry Dunstan twice, right? And he gave Terry Dunstan a hard fight. And I remember you being in a Sky studio talking like, Chuck, bring Terry Dunstan for me. Don't worry about that. Bring him for me. But Terry went on to fight for the IBF world title. That was 98, and where he loses, and you beat Dennis Andres, and then you just kept on going on and going on and going on and going on. I want to know this for you, Johnny Nelson. What was that changing part in Johnny Nelson where it clicked? What happened?
It was self-belief. It was self-belief because I knew there was nobody here in the UK that was going to beat me. But I also knew that I didn't have the self-belief that it took to go around the world. It's a responsibility to go around the world and actually beat fighters around the world. So I was like everybody else. I was for all the Americans are better than us. Everybody else overseas are better than us. So I didn't go in there with self-belief. But then when I spent more or less 6 years on the road, in Germany, in France, sparring with the best, the elite, that represent, I'm thinking, Johnny, you're an idiot. Because the problem wasn't that I didn't think I used to think upside down. I didn't think I was good. I just thought they were bad. So I'd fight people in Britain. I didn't think I was good. I didn't think I was good. I just thought they were bad. So when I got in with people that are from like the States or people that I'm thinking, boy, now you. And so when your head's not there, your head's not there. Eventually, after being out, when the penny dropped with me, I knew when I boxed Dennis Andrews, I knew I was world champion. And nobody else believed me because I'd had 2 chances already. Nobody else believed me, but I knew then. I knew I could box anybody and beat him. I knew I'd never lose again. And Dennis, unfortunately, was cannon fodder. Because Dennis thought, I don't care what you've done. I'm the best fighter in the world. It's just unofficial. So by the time I got into fight for the world title again, I could have boxed anybody and beat them because I'd already done my apprenticeship of hard knocks. I'd already done my apprenticeship of failure and success. I'd done it all. So that now was my time. And this is the problem. A lot of fighters, they step out before the penny drops. And then when they realise years later, when they've retired and been out of the ring too long, they think, God, if I just hang about a bit longer, I got it. I just had to catch up. My maturity had to catch up. My physical maturity had to catch up. My self-belief, me growing into me as a man, had to catch up. Once they all caught up, most people, they grow like that. Once all mine had caught up, I thought, all right, now I'm there now. And that's why I knew the penny had dropped with me. And that's why I knew I'd never lose again in the ring, which is why I say that what would happen is, you know, given the chance, I can turn anybody, I can tell anybody the secret to success. No, but I can't show you what it is. You know, I can take you down the path and lead you in the right direction. You've got to want it enough. And I mean, really want it enough to take the heartache and pain.
I hear that. Thank you, Mr. Alexander Wilson, for the $5. And he says, congrats, Johnny. Were there any of your cruiserweight compadres that you think were underrated or didn't get the credit that they deserve? Very good question.
In my time or in today? In my time, I think, unfortunately, we seem to be a nation of not giving credit where credit's due. We always want to praise everybody else overseas. And we always think everybody else is better. You know, the fans, they always think, he's better than you, he's from America. You don't have to be an American. You don't have to be in London to be the best. And so there were many fighters here in the UK that were outstanding, but didn't get the credit they deserved. Harold Graham, you know, he was outstanding fighter. Outstanding fighter.
Johnny, I'm going to tell you this now. What Harold Graham couldn't do, it wasn't worth knowing about. All right? I speak to James Cook, who's now working with Anthony Yard and Tunde, working with these guys. James Cook, former British and European super middleweight champion. And I'll say to James, like, who's the hardest punchers that you ever been with? And you know what he says to me? He said, remember he beat Michael Watson. He said, Michael Watson and Harold Graham. He said Harold Graham could lick.
Yep.
Right? He said, don't get fooled by that little gangly style and all the rest of it. Right? He was a defensive master. And this is the thing about it, is this is like certain people won't reach the promised land. Right? Certain people are actually like Moses. If you know anything about the scriptures or the biblical scriptures, Moses never ever reached the promised land. Yeah? But he taught the people how to get to the promised land. And I think that's what Harold Graham was. Harold Graham was that guy who put Winterbank Gym on the map globally. He fought all around the world. I think he was 43-0 before he lost his first fight against Sambu Kalambe. That's ridiculous. Yeah. You know what I mean? He was a 2-weight British champion, and he was British and European champion at middleweight. He was just one of those guys where he paved the way. But there's other guys.
That's what I'm saying. Unfortunately, what happens is Harold Graham is remembered for his big knockout when he got knocked out against Julian Jackson. Harold Graham reminds me. Harold Graham reminds me of David and Goliath. Now, if you know what David and Goliath, everybody thinks David was a little shepherd, and he went out there and he beat Goliath. David was a warrior. My man conquered nations. He was a warrior. You look into the background of David. Look at David. Look into his background. He was a warrior. Don't judge him by one. You know, this guy beat nations. Harold Graham was an outstanding fighter. that battered the likes of Roberto Duran, battered him in sparring. That spar with people like Marvin Hagler. People don't know this. People don't believe this. I've seen this guy produce unbelievable magic in the ring. Unfortunately, he's remembered for being knocked out when it counted. And that's the difference. It's like having the ingredients to a cake and if one thing missing, it's never going to taste perfect. Errol just had that one thing missing, that chop opportunity. But this guy is remembered for all the wrong reasons. Underrated. Massively underrated.
Yeah, thank you, Bobby Wright, for the 449. He said, I didn't even know that he was doing a show, Spence. Happy New Year and congratulations, Mr. MBE. Now, Johnny, like I'm saying, what is this stuff? So Joe Farmer, he says, do you think that AJ is doing the right thing by searching for a trainer in the US? Question mark. I'll hand that one over to you, Johnny.
I think Anthony Joshua, remember all the stick I got when Anthony Joshua was in Saudi and I was asked the question and I said, if Anthony Joshua loses, the problem is he's going to find the motivation to want to box on again because he's been at the top for years. Now he's traveling, he's looking for a place to be at peace, to think, you know, I can do some learning. Anthony Joshua needs to find a coach that he respects, will listen to, and when he doesn't tell the coach what to do, the coach tells him what to do. Now, if he's traveling around looking for somewhere comfortable, he's never going to find it because being comfortable ain't going to keep you at the top. He's got to go somewhere where the trainer says, right, we're doing this today, this today, this today. Unfortunately, it probably got to the stage where AJ was bus driver, ticket collector, conductor, passenger and everything. He said what he said when I understand, you know, he wants to drive his own ship. But you know what? David Beckham wouldn't be David Beckham without Alex Ferguson. And Alex Ferguson couldn't play as good a football as David Beckham. Naz wouldn't be Naz without Brendan. Brendan wasn't as good at boxing. What I'm saying to you is you need somebody to say, this is what you're doing, this is how it's done. Listen to me. Don't ask me what I'm doing. Don't want to say jump. Don't ask me how high, how long for. I don't feel like it today. So AJ now is traveling around trying to find his peace or find somewhere where he's comfortable. He needs to travel around where he's uncomfortable, travel somewhere where he knows somebody, meet somebody that knows what they're doing, and he's uncomfortable. He needs to live the life. I said he should have gone Virgil Hunter. Virgil Hunter will make him live the life. But is Anthony Joshua built up to become a Virgil Hunter prodigy? No, he isn't, because it's too late for him to step into that. But he needs to be somebody like that knows the game, knows the history of sport, because it makes so much difference when you immerse yourself with somebody that knows the sport. I don't want someone that's just come out of university. He's got a few letters behind his name and he's handed the bucket up to some top five. I need somebody that knows, that lives the life. That's a gym rat, and that gym rat knows he's seen them all come and go. I need someone that's going to say. He needs someone that's going to say to him, "Listen, this is what you're doing. It's my way, the highway. Come out if you ain't going to listen." The problem is he going to be able to do that? Because he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to. It's his choice. And I think that's going to be the trouble. He doesn't have to do that.
Alexander Wilson, I'll come back to his AJ stuff. I'll give my opinion. But I can't let the money that's flowing in for the church right now dissipate. Alexander Wilson says, thank you for the $5 as well, Alexander. I meant cruiserweights during your era. I thought Guillermo Jones, I remember you got the draw with him. He was good. He started at 147 and became a world champion at cruiserweight.
Guillermo Jones.
Yeah.
So Guillermo Jones, let me just give you some.
You got a draw with him. That was 1999. You got the draw with him.
No, but let me tell you, Guillermo Jones failed the drug test 4 times in his career.
Okay.
4 times. That fight, when I got a draw with him, he failed that drug test. I knew when I boxed my man, in the second round he was on gear. Because I hit him, and I know it's a wicked shot. Man, just tilt like Robocop, carrying on coming. I went back to the corner and said, Brent, he's on gear. He said, get on with it, you can't do nothing about it. The fight went on, we got a draw. Between me and you, I think, why, my man's pipped that. But they made it a draw. He failed the drug test 4 times. He failed the drug test. So unfortunately, the guy, he stained and ruined his career because he's a drug cheat. He's a drug cheat. So he can't even be in that mix because he's a drug cheat. And I know a prolific drug cheat. 4 times he's failed his drug test. So when you try and put him in the mix, I'm sorry, he can't come in the mix. If the mix says, yo, we can all take drugs, and I could have gone at the same time, then we talk differently. But he's a drug cheat. He's not in the mix. Look at his record. Look at why he's had time off. Now the guy is a cheat, and that's why every time I talk and people talk about, I say the man's a cheat. I knew it in the fight, and he did it again.
What was his punching power like?
He couldn't punch, but he was persistent.
Okay.
It was persistent. And it was elusive and persistent. I'm like, man, this man's not even slowing down. I'm the fittest guy I knew when I was boxing. So I know if you're going to outfit me, you've got to be something special. And my man was on it, bam, all the way through. He's come up from lower weights to my weight, and he's outgassing me. That's why I knew. I thought, nah, it's impossible to beat me at that game. I'm the fittest guy here because once I became world champion, I knew what the ingredient was. As long as I didn't cut any corners, as long as I did it all right, as long as I made sure I trained right, ate right, slept right, prepped right, nobody was going to beat me. They were never going to outgas me. No. So when I come across somebody and I'm seeing their energy levels not dropping, they're getting high, I'm like, no, that's impossible. That's the belief I had because I knew I did it right. And that might be stupid to think like that, but I knew I did it right. 4 times the guy failed.
Okay. Well, yeah, also, like, I would say, like, the Edris Sellers fight was your hardest fight.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I don't even know. We've never even had this conversation, even though I was at Sky for 9 years. I never ever thought to ask you that, but I thought that was your hardest fight.
Most dangerous fight
That guy
because
could punch, you know?
well, he could punch. I'm telling you. You know, it's the first time I met somebody. I met someone that would touch it, and you just, and I'm like, because I do a ritual when I come out of the dressing room. I look around. I think, I remember this. I remember that. I remember this. I think I'm not getting knocked out tonight. I'm coming back, and in my head, I ain't getting knocked out. Nobody. I know he's a good chin. I'm thinking I ain't getting knocked out tonight. And my man, he threw a shot, hit me on the top of the head. And I'm down, I'm like, and I started laughing, thinking, rotted. If you see the film, if you see it, I'm laughing to myself, thinking, shit. And I'm laughing, taking a piss out myself, saying, shame, we just put you down. And I was chuckling to myself and went back to the corner. I thought, all right, excuse my French, you fucker, you won't do that again. And I thought, all right, take your time, and then keep it long, keep him long, wait, be patient. You get frustrated and make a mistake. Long lead backhand, boom, straight in the eye socket. My man went down because he thought my man's keeping me long. I wasn't mixing it up with him. I wasn't crossing swords. I'm keeping it long and dropping the shots in. And when he went down, I knew his heart was burning him. And him and Carl Thompson had an amazing fight with each other. And them two were bitching about. Carl was bitching about he shouldn't have lost the fight to me. He was bitching about Johnny put the thumb me in the eye. I thought, you know what, you can argue as much as you want. I've done my job with you two. No, Ezra Sellers was a dangerous cookie. I see the man he'd either knock you out or get knocked out.
Yep. Alexander Wilson, thank you again for the $5. Thank you, Johnny, for making that clear. I forgot John failed a drug test against Denis Lebedev. Also, Johnny, when do you know when it's time to hang it up?
You know when it's time to hang it up? When you can not train and not feel guilty. When you're making up excuses not to do something in regards to preparing you for a fight. It's time to hang it up. And maybe that's that little thing, nah, you know what? No, you've got no excuse not to train. You're in the bed. Mine was, I can remember being in bed. It was raining. I used to love running. I was tired. I was laid in bed. I used to set my training gear out on the floor in front of me. Before I went to the bathroom, I'd have to step over it, go and have a wee, and get back. So the guilt of stepping over it, I'd have to make sure I put my gear on. I stepped over it and got back in bed. I went back to sleep and slept like a baby. And I knew your time's ticking away, Johnny. It's time to start thinking about packing in because you're going to get beat by someone that shouldn't beat you. Because
just before you retired, the talk was it was for you and Enzo Marcanelli to fight. He was the WBU champion.
Yeah.
Frank Warren was pushing really hard with the WBU then, and you were the WBO champion, and meant to be you two were meant to fight.
Yeah. In my head, that was going to be my last fight before I boxed him. I knew I said, after this, I need to jack in. And I thought, and it was, I wanted the fight so bad because that fight was on ITV. The last time they saw me on ITV is when I bored them against Carlos de Leon in 1990. So to me, I thought, I want this fight bad because they're all bigging up Enzo Maccarinelli. I'm WBO champion. I'll bust this boy's ass. And that's why I wanted it so bad. And in my head, I had a speech because I thought, if you talk about retiring and you're still fighting, you've retired already. It's just a matter of time, but your desire's gone. So Brendan didn't even know. And he had it in my head what my speech was going to be. I was going to sit ringside and say, you know what, have a good time, blah, blah, blah. Nobody knew what I was going to say. Because I knew, to me, I thought, I'm done with that. I'm done with it now because I'm going to get beat by someone that shouldn't beat me. The fight didn't take place because I snapped the patella tendon. So when it's taken away from you, you think, why? I want this back, but you want it back for the wrong reasons. And so I knew my time would have been, if it was down to me, my last fight would have been against Enzo Maccarinelli. I would have stopped him and said, I'm done, and walked out on the top.
Well, you know what? You still walked out on the top because you very few British world champions actually retire with their world crowns, right? I can go. I'm just head topping like British guys that have retired as world champion. Joe Kawasaki's done it.
Yeah,
right.
Lennox Lewis had done it.
Lennox Lewis did it, right?
Lennox was my inspiration because I thought, Lennox, you've broken the mold. You've actually retired, and everybody's saying, "Nah, come back, box Vitaly again." And he said, "No, I'm done. I'm done." I thought, and he stayed done. And that to me, I thought, and I could have actually, when I had a year out after when the Maccarinelli fight should have happened, I was getting myself back to fitness again. I thought, Johnny, done with it. Done. And I just done with it. I said, I ain't doing it. And Lennox was my inspiration with that.
Okay. I remember you doing you interviewed Lennox and you said that was like he was your inspiration. I remember that.
Yeah.
You say like because he did it. But yeah, Terry Marshall is another fighter that retired as a world champion, but he had to retire because of epilepsy. But there hasn't been guys. Usually, you know what I mean? The guys, when they win world titles and they carry on, they don't really roll out on top. They roll out once they've been defeated.
It's very hard. Listen, boxing is like a drug. It's very hard to stay out of it. And even when you retire, I'm 56 on Wednesday. Boy, it's my birthday Wednesday. I'm 56 on Wednesday. So, and I still think
I'm coming, you know.
I still think I can fight. You know what I mean? I still think like a fighter. And you always think you can still fight. You've always got that fighter's warrior's mentality.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a drug. And I've seen fighters like Spencer Oliver. You know, my man got damaged, almost killed in the ring. Give him the chance. He said, I would do it again. Michael Watson will tell you the same. Boxing is a drug. So when you should jack in, like I think Derek Chisora should jack in, when you jack in, sometimes someone's got to take it away from you. I'll tell you, look, you have to let this thing go.
Right. What's that? Ilukan says, Johnny, what was the beef with Marco Huck? Could you elaborate on that story for us, please?
Of course. So Marco Huck had won the WBO title, my old title, and he was defending it in Germany. And he never left Germany, ever left Germany. They invited me out to Germany because he was trying to match my record of defences. He beat a guy, but he'd never come out of Germany. All you have to do is get to the final bell. So I thought, you know what? You ain't no champion. A champion can travel around the world and still come back as champion. And he just had to get to the final bell. So I didn't respect him as a champion. But you know what? They asked me to fly to Germany and pay me. I'll go out. Then my friend went out there. So I got out there. They asked me what I thought of Marco Huck. And I said, he's a decent fight. If you ask me a question, I'll tell you the answer, even if it's not popular. They said, well, you beat him. I said, yeah, I'd have knocked him out. I said, this guy don't leave the country. I'm in Germany now. Around his people, they're translating it. The whole boo, it was going mad. I said, no, I'd have knocked him out. This guy's never boxed out of Germany. You know, he's not a champion. In my mind, he's not a champion. When he boxed out of Germany, and when he boxed out of Germany, then we can talk about that. If he boxes me, I'm old enough to be his dad, and I'll beat him. That fight will never happen. So they had to get security on us to get us out of the place. They were going mad. So Marco Huck's now thinking, and I know this because you asked the Sauerlands. Sauerlands were involved in it at the time. And after, they said, you know what, we would never let that happen because we couldn't risk putting you in with him and you beating him because his credibility is gone then. I'm old enough to be his dad. Consequently, after that, he went to box in America the first time he boxed out of Germany,
Well,
and he got beat. He got
Yeah.
knocked out. So
Yeah.
my answer was that. My answer was the first time you take this boy out of his home confidence is getting turned over. So Marco didn't like that, but I'm not trying to be insulting. If you ask me something, I don't want to give you the answer, but I'll give you the answer. That's my answer, and that's what happened. It didn't go down too tough. He's a bully. He was a bully. I saw him box. He was a bully. And the thing is, when you come up, when a dog comes up against a bigger dog, all of a sudden he's got a bark, but he sounds like a little chihuahua. He was a chihuahua to me. So this is why, and this guy could tell I treat him like a chihuahua.
Did you give him any pedigree, chum? Anyway, off the canvas, I just said, congrats, Johnny, on your MBE. We had Francis Warren on earlier, and I wanted to ask, would you ever want to get into managing fighters?
I would, but I would only do it if I could give the same time and commitment like Brendan did. I advise a lot of fighters. I try and guide them in the right direction. But unless I can give them time like Brendan gave me, it's unfair on the fighters. It's disrespectful to the fighters. So if they ask me advice, they want guidance, I give them that. But until I can give that time and commit that time like Brendan did for me, I'll tell them I won't do it. Many fighters have come up to me and asked me to manage them, asked me to train them. And I know I could do that. I know I'm a great motivator, I'm a great strategist. I know I could do all of that. But I won't because it's unfair on the fight. You could promise them the sun, moon, and stars. But to me, I just think what one's been a monster. If you've been a fighter and you've been stung as a fighter, either financially with a bad coach or whatever, and then you finish being a fighter and then you become a manager, promoter, whatever, and then you start doing it to other fighters, I hate that. I hate that. And you see it happening now. You see fighters burning other fighters, and it's disgusting. And I lose all respect for that fight because it's a brotherhood. You think, you know what, you know how that thing is, and you're doing it yourself. So and it's happened to you. So unless I can give that time and commitment like Brendan did for me, I won't do it. And listen, watch your space. Watch your space because it's not something I've often say it's never going to happen, but I just wouldn't do it now at the moment.
I hear that. Carlos, thank you for the €5.99. Good evening, gents. Almost missed the show. Have a great show. Thank you very much for the support there, Carlos. Country Don, my brother from another mother, my longest living friend. Country Don, aka the chairman. Congrats, Johnny. You're getting a lot of love on there, but I haven't read out all of loads of people. Like they're very, very. Plus, you're a proper show. You're a proper friend of the show. You know what I mean? What's this? Actor says, how much to hire you to speak for 1 hour, Johnny? What you're going to have to do, you're going to have to email Johnny Nelson's PA and discuss those logistics. Yet again, Carlos, thank you again for the €5.99. Question for Johnny. With all your experience in boxing as a fighter and being in the business, what are the most valuable lessons you learned? Question mark, respect.
Okay, first of all, answer the first one. If you go on my Instagram, there's an email address there. If you want to do that sort of stuff, like check that kind of thing out, email that, you'll get the information. Second one, what have I learned?
50 grand, and we want 25%. Right. Me and Tony's got bills right there. Gary's got a newborn.
What have I learned? Loyalty is everything to me. And don't be stupid loyalty, you know, but you might be loyal to a man that can only take you so far. If you show mutual loyalty, that man will say, I love you, let you free. To say, go on, I can only take you so far. Loyalty is everything. If you want it enough, you will achieve it. And when I say if you want it enough, it means you will do everything physically capable to get to the top. When you cut corners, the only person cheating is yourself because your manager, your trainer, will train other fighters. He'll live to fight another day. So to me, I just think, be honest with yourself. If you want it enough, you will achieve it. I'm my own example, and that's it. You know, don't take it too serious. Don't to the point where you think, you know, the press will write about you. They'll say good things about you, say bad things about you. You got to treat them the same. Because when they say bad things about you, it does your head and it breaks your heart. You got a bit of chip on your shoulder. When they say good things about you, all of a sudden you think you're something you're not. either way, these people don't know you well enough to comment and give you comment where you take it on board. So yeah, let them sell, let them do all the hullabaloo and say he's a this, that, and the other. But your job is to concentrate on your inner circle, your coach, your assistant coach, people in your gym. That's who you listen to. It doesn't matter what is said by the masses. It doesn't matter what is said negative or positively. Do not buy into that. I remember Nas. It got to stage with Nas, where Prince Hassim Hamid, and you could see, and I said to Brendan, "What's the issue there?" And he said, "Money's just magnified who he is." And I can remember Nas had a company, I think it was called Prince Promotions, and he said the story went something like this: he went to America, to Beverly Hills, and on the credit card it says Prince Hassim Hamid. So he said, "These people think I'm royalty." So you walk in the shop, there's no price tags on any of your clothes, nothing. You've got to leave your credit card at the front as you're walking out looking at stuff. They're giving you tea, giving you sandwiches, all over you. He said, I'd hired a Porsche, soft top Porsche. I'm driving about and I parked it outside. And he said, these people were bending over backwards to me, like in Pretty Woman. They were bending over backwards to him. And so he said, I'm looking around the shop thinking, ain't nothing I like here. There's nothing I really like here. But he said, I felt a bit of a way because I thought they'd been so nice to me. I've been there for ages. So I'd have to buy something. So I've got a little plain jumper, little cashmere plain jumper. Put it on the counter. Again, there's no price tag there. Put it on the counter. They did the card. Walked out, waved to them. They said, thank you, Royal Highness, and blah, blah, blah. Thank you, Royal Highness, because they think he's a prince. My man's from Winkerbank up the road, lived above the corner shop. He ain't no prince, but he's playing the game. And so he said, I got in the car, and they're waving at the window, waving at me. I looked down, looked in the bag, opened the bag, looked at the jumper. $2,000 he paid for a jumper, like the one you got on, Spencer, just without the neck. And he's like, and he said, I sat there and thought, shit. Now he's in a dilemma. Is he going to be a typical Yorkshire man? Our Yorkshire war craze, how much? So is he going to be a typical Yorkshire man, or is he going to swallow it? So he said, I sat down and I thought, shall I rip the neck a little bit and say it's torn? But he said, no, I can't do that because he's watching. He said I had to swallow it. He drove off, and this is the problem. If you get sucked in to believing the machine, the hype of who you are, you got to suffer the consequences. In boxing, you have villains, you have heroes, you have in the middle. The villains and the heroes are the one that get all the attention, all the love, all the money. But remember, you got to fall on your sword. If you're a villain, you got to take the boos, you got to take the jeers, you got to take the haters, and don't take it personal. If you're the hero, you know as a hero, you're gonna have haters. You might get toppled, and I'm talking about people like Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua. These guys have got it. These guys, I hope, separate their public persona from their personal persona. And this is what you've got to do in boxing. Boxing isn't just about being a good fighter. You got to sell yourself where the public think, I'm interested in. Get human reaction.
Mm-hmm. Alexander Wilson, thank you again for the $5. If AJ wants an American trainer, he should go to John David Jackson. He put together a great game plan against Savannah Marshall for sure. Your take on that, Mr. Nelson?
Listen, it's horses for courses. You know, it's not. They've got to get on. He's got to respect that man. He's got to see something in that man to think, you do it for me. Everybody's going to have an opinion. He'd have been good for you. He'd have been good for you. Everybody has an opinion on who Anthony Joshua should go with. He's got to be a strong character that's willing to say, walk away. To say, listen, this is what we're doing. If you don't do what I want, come out the place.
Right.
And that's a hard thing to do. That's a hard thing to do because
who trains Charlo and he also trains Errol Spence. And he's out with Derek James. And I'm saying, like, we had Derek James on the show just after Joshua, just before Joshua fought Usyk for the second time. We had David. And I was saying, like, you went to all of these people out in Houston and all the rest of it, but you didn't go and check him. And he was just named Ring Magazine Trainer of the Year. I'm saying, why didn't you go and check him? But I'm not badding up no one in AJ's team. It's like they asked to go to the guy that trained Charlo, but they went to the other one. I mean, they went to Ronnie Shields, instead of. So you should have gone to both of them. But that's something that they made a mistake on. But it's been rectified now. I've got a lot of time for Derek James. He's a guy who he's solely boxing. He don't watch boxing, but he's solely for his fighters and working at game plans and training fighters. And he must be doing something right because he's got a unified welterweight champion and an undisputed world champion at junior middleweight. So therefore, he must be doing something right.
See, boxing can be very lonely, and when you're traveling with people that don't box, or not even at the level you're at, that's the influence you've got in your ear. So, they might be negative, they might be positive, but they might say their negativity could come in all shapes, all forms, and it might not be to be personally undermining you, but they're speaking from their point of view.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to do that stuff by yourself. So whether you're driving about to do whatever, walk in that gym by yourself. Not with your spars saying, yo, come, let's take this one out. Because you might think it's all right. You might say, nah, I don't like that. My man's such and such. This is for you. This is about your development. It needs to be your instinct, your nature, your impulse to say why you should be there. Forget about that, man. If you're moving with man that actually don't do it, don't walk in your shoes, how can they tell you what's best for you? How
Very
can they
true.
have an opinion what's best for you?
Very true. Monty Singh says, Happy New Year, brothers. Congrats on your MBE. Johnny, like to know
Thank you.
what fight would you like to see made in 2023 the most, and also any upsets that you could see happening on fights already made for 2023.
I'm looking forward to Liam Smith and Eubank. I'm looking forward to that, of course.
Who you got for that fight?
You know what? Common sense would tell you Liam Smith. Liam Smith's got all the pedigree, all the experience and everything. Liam Smith's not the fighter he was, but the fighter he is today should be good enough to beat somebody like all domestic level fighters. But the problem is this: is Liam Smith going there, and is Eubank there? So Eubank might not get any further, but he might be at level weights enough to beat this current Liam Smith. And that's the problem. But that the reason why it'll hurt Liam Smith more if you lost to Eubank than if Eubank lost to him, because he's been there. He looks at Eubank and thinks, you should beat me. Who are you to beat me? But he's not the fighter he was. And listen, a disrespect of Liam Smith. It's fact. It's fact. And so it's timing's everything. Eubank has an amazing energy. I think he's ring fresher, but has he got the ring IQ to beat Smith? And that's the problem. This is an amazing fight. I'm interested in it. Fights I'd like to see, of course, I'd see Crawford and Spence. I'd love to see that. You never know if it's going to happen. I bet it's got to this year. I'm interested to see Usyk and Fury. I think Fury beats Usyk. And there are fights there. I just think, do I want to see Anthony Joshua out in the mix? I want him in the mix probably the back end of the year. I think he needs to have a good time out. But not just walking away from the game saying, I have nothing to do with boxing. He needs to spend time behind closed doors developing his craft. So there's no misunderstanding. I know people say, nah, he can't afford to do that right now. If he's in the gym and he's training, he's learning his craft, sparring, working, that's crucial. That's crucial time spent wisely. I'm not saying walk away from the game and go and lay on a beach for a year. What I'm saying is step away from the light and go into the gym, go into a dirty, rotten, stinky gym and immerse yourself in it. The problem is when you've got mad money, it's hard to make that commitment.
Very, very difficult to do. Chris Andre Boxing, as I said, Johnny, did you see Ingle's tweet that you'd have beaten Hay, Usyk, Okoli, and Bellew? Bellew didn't seem too happy. Is there any tension between you and any retired fighters to this day? Question mark. Macquarie? Question mark. And in Macquarie, Macquarie, the former IBF cruiserweight champion, and you and Johnny Nelson's old Sky colleague, because they used to be ringside together. And
if there was any ever, it'd be Glenn McCrory. If there was any, I know Glenn in his head thought he could deal with me. He'd never deal with me in a minute. I'd twist him up. I always not twist him up. I think these young boys, Bellew, Hay, and all of them going to a call of them. I got love for them all. Yes, I've actually just today heard about this spat with Dominic and Tony Bellew. And Dominic speaking from a trainer's point of view, Tony Bellew speaking from a proud fighter's point of view. That ain't nothing to do with me. And this is that about opinions. If you're asking me, Johnny, would you beat Usyk? And I believed I'd beat him in my day, not now, then I say yeah. Dominic's been asked the question, he's giving his answer. And it just hasn't gone down too well with the people he's talking about. And that's the fact. It's also, I've been made aware of it, but I had no idea how stupid this thing's getting. With them two, it's getting a bit personal.
Okay, well, that's how it goes. I mean, that's how it goes. But like, for me, and I've said this earlier already, the fights that I'm really looking forward to for 2023, if I'm on wish list, I want to see Usyk Fury. I want to see Joshua and Wilder. I want to see Joshua and Wilder in Africa. That's why I want to see that fight happen. Right? I'm just going to be real with you. I want to see Tank versus Garcia because there's talk about that fight now. Tank free agent. And I think the charges are being dropped on Tank. There was some domestic violence thing going on, but I think the mother of his child has come out and said like it didn't go like that. She was trying to get revenge. So I don't even know the fullness of it. I'd like to see on our home front. I'd like to see Okoli come through victorious because he's defending his title now, hasn't he? Because
he will. Lawrence Okoli. Listen, he's probably the strongest out of them there, and we've got a good chance of having 3 world cruiserweight champions that could all fight each other. You could create some kind of Super 6 series, and that would be absolutely wicked.
Holy and Rapport is going to happen in the summer. It's going to be Sky's first pay-per-view fight. Remember, I'm telling you, I can see that fight happening. I want to see that fight happening. But I'm telling you this now, it's like, what's the other kid? Vidal Riley. Vidal Riley, technically,
is the
best cruiserweight in Great Britain.
Bad. He could box.
Remember, I'm telling you now, Vidal Riley is the best technical cruiserweight in the country. And, and I'll tell you the next thing is this, and this is not me digging out nobody. Isaac Chamberlain, technically very, very sound, yeah? But something just hasn't aligned for him, yeah? Something hasn't aligned for him, right? But this kid, Vidal Riley, I'm telling you, he's real. And on top of that, the youth studies boxing. He's going to be a problem. Remember, I'm telling you, he's only a handful of fights. I don't think that 10 fights.
Spencer, I'd agree with you. I think Vidal Riley could box for British title now and actually win it. The only thing that's lacking is his ring experience as a professional fighter, and so which means you're in deep waters, and you're too good for your own group. So you get in that there's a chance you can be in there with very skilled fighters. So they've got to be smart, take the time and be patient with it. But Vidal Riley is definitely the best domestic fighter in Britain. You mentioned Lawrence Okoli. I think Lawrence is my boy. I've got a lot of time for Lawrence. I love his story. I love everything about it. I'll do anything to help push this boy through. I think Lawrence, especially when box Dylan Smith, he has the outstanding ability, but unfortunately he's picking up a sparring partner mentality, whereas he's happy to come second place.
Who, Lawrence Okoli?
You can see, not Lawrence Okoli, Isaac Chamberlain. Isaac Chamberlain.
You're racist because they're both African, but
Isaac is my boy. I've got a lot of respect from everything that he's done, everything that he's achieved. When he boxed Bill and Smith, for you know what, there's a little chink where what you're doing is you just come in second place and you're happy to sit there. They'll dig in last minute, but the kid he's actually better than what he actually gives himself credit for. The kid can fight. So we have talent here. I think Lawrence Okoli, he's the best in Britain. He's proved it. He's the best cruiserweight out there. And I think there'll be some wicked fights with him, Riakpo. And I don't know how it will work out with Bill and Smith because they're both training in the same gym. But I have a funny feeling Lawrence knows. Lawrence is out in Dubai now, so they split gyms. But I have a funny feeling Lawrence knows he's got his number.
Wow. Carlos ain't playing. Thank you for the 23.99 euros. Johnny and Spencer. Well, Usyk will turn 36 this month. During his previous fight with AJ, he looked less fluid, albeit he was still a convincing winner. Do you believe that Usyk is on the decline as a heavyweight? He can't rely on power, and he
I
can't.
think I think Usyk himself has said he's considering moving back down to cruiserweight because he struggles to put the weight on and to stay up at the weight. Now he's coming up against a big unit as in Tyson Fury that can move, that can fight, that is big and awkward. And this is where we'll see the differences in a good being big and beating a good little. But Usyk, I know as a cruiserweight, you can beat most heavyweights as a cruiserweight because you've got the cruiserweight speed, you've got the cruiserweight movement, you've just not got that solid concussive cruiserweight bang. And the only really successful one I saw do that was Evander Holyfield. I mean, knocking heavyweights out. I boxed a lot of heavyweights and beat them with ease. But there were certain ones you didn't give too much away to because if you give them away weight, height, and reach, then you're on the receiving end of the wrong side of a fight. I think Usyk is a very good fighter. I think as a heavyweight, looking what's out there, you can imagine him with Joyce now. You can imagine him with Tyson Fury now. I just think these guys will have the better of him.
And you could be right, and you could be right. And Johnny, lastly, because I ain't gonna keep you, and I've gone over the time as well. What we're going to be doing. I know Gary's got to be up early as well, so I don't want to take liberties with Gary, right? But you know what? I want to say this to you, Johnny. It's you getting an MBE is not the reason why I'm proud of you. You know what I mean? I've been proud of you from day dot and the support because this time last year you lost your mum, and then 6 months after I lose my mum, and just the support that you have offered me has been unreal. People don't know how many times Johnny Nelson will phone me to talk rubbish, like just to check in on you. And to see this happen for you to go and get an MBE, that's not the plethora, because I know there's more to come. But the mere fact that you're being recognized by royal establishment and royal lineage, then I have to salute you greatly for that. Right, Sugar Ray 29, thank you for the £5. Happy New Year, gentlemen. Happy 56th birthday when it comes. MB Johnny, thank you for the £5, bro.
Bless, man. Bless. Thank you, man.
Yeah, well, that's
anytime. You know that. I got your back, Dred. I got your back.
That's all I got to say. Johnny Nelson, it's been a plum pleasing pleasure for you to take out your time on your Sunday. So grateful for you jumping on the show. Tundi hasn't been here. Really thankful to Francis Warren. And you know what? And I got to rate Francis because me and Francis had a little bit of a spat a few years ago that lasted for a decade, you know, right? And then he phones me up. He found me in the barbershop and he phones me up and he says, "You know what, Spence? You know what we fell out about, you know what, I was young." And I rate him for that, you know. Because loads of people, you know, I mean, you can fall out with people and all the rest of it. And Francis has been, since then, he's been nothing but a gentleman. Really helpful. Any fights I want, always give me ringside. I was like, big up Francis Warren. You know what I mean? And I'm going to keep this thing 100 as well. Queensbury wiped the socks off of everybody last year in promoting in the UK. They were excellent. You know what I mean? You ain't going to agree straight off of the bat because you're at the Sky, but I'm telling you, Queensbury done a fantastic job. And the thing about it is this: Francis was on there talking about managing, and he's managing these fighters. He's talking about bringing certain fighters over to Sky with Ben Shalom, having meetings with them because he's trying to get the best possible thing for his fighters. Big up Francis Warren for joining on the show. Have to massive big up to Johnny Nelson, the entertainer.
Yes, please.
Former WBO World Cruiserweight Champion and the man that holds the record for the joint amount of defenses in 14 and Britain's second longest man to hold a world title, Johnny Nelson. Big up yourself and everyone that's gave a penny towards the show today. Grateful, so thankful.
Thank you.
Everyone that's watched, tuned in, commented, remember to like and subscribe. Tundi's going to be back in about 3 weeks. The next time Tundi is back, hopefully, he'll be with a unified heavyweight champion on the world. And in closing, I say, dream it, believe it, become it. Come on down. Thank you to everyone who jumped on the show. I'm glad that you enjoyed the show today. And I also wish you guys a fantastic, magnanimous, superb, and beautiful 2023, because 2023 is for me, but is also for we. Peace, two fingers. I'm out. Later.